Are you here? Well, that's good. This is episode number 1096 of the Paul Leslie Hour. We are truly thrilled to welcome the celebrated Ross Vannelli, a multifaceted force in music and video. We shall dive into the vibrant new album, Live Like There's No Tomorrow, released by Mullen's Miracles and featuring the talented Jeff Pike. It's a collection of songs that navigates the intricate emotions of our lives while championing resilience, urging us all to persevere and embrace each moment as if it's our last. These songs were written by Ross Vannelli, and you will soon hear that our chat evolves into a deeper exploration of Ross's creative journey, spanning songwriting, production, and cinematic storytelling. It is truly an inspiring ride, and it's happening now.
Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us. It's my great pleasure to be joined by a songwriter, arranger, record producer, video editor, all-around creator, Ross Vannelli.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, thank you so much for making time to talk to me.
Absolutely.
Well, we have a lot of things that we can talk about, but I first want to call to the attention this album, Mullen's Miracles featuring Jeff Pike, Live Like There's No Tomorrow, a collection of songs all produced, arranged, and written by you. So, Ross, can you tell us what has always been the purpose of the art you create?
It's so hard to put into words, For my family and I, it's been like bread and water for us. We grew up with it. We lived it. We had bands our whole lives. Been in the studio since we were little kids. And I still go through the same process today at my age, where specifically talking about Live Like There's No Tomorrow album, I would get up and go outside and take my dog and walk around the block and write lyrics in my head, come back to the studio and lay it down. Get up at midnight, have an idea in my head, go to studio, stay there until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and write. And then come back the next day and see if I like what I did. And that's my process. In the early days, lyrics would come second. I'd probably write a hook and verses and then, complete the concept. But these days, I basically complete lyrics and concept first, and then music.
Interesting. The reason that you do it, the impetus, has that changed at all through the years?
Oh, yes. But, there was always a purpose. Whether it was writing for a specific artist, whether it was writing for my brother, Gino, whether, there was an album I did maybe 10 years ago, which was called Sounds of Life, and it was music to basically soothe a mother who's birthing. And so that concept, my head was wrapped into that for months and months and months. With Live Like There's No Tomorrow, I was wrapped into Mullen's Miracles and Kathy Mullen and her experience. And I lived that. And it took a while. That project was almost 2.5, 3 years. I probably wrote about 25 or 30 songs for it. And then we got together and we selected 11. And then I created 11 videos for it. But the process was lyric first. There's so many things, when I first started the project, you figure, what can you talk about? We're talking about depression, mental issues, prevention, what happens after the fact. It's like the people that are affected by it, how to cope with it. So many different things that I didn't even realize But once I was contemplating and just thinking and slightly meditating on it at night, so many different things came to me and so many subjects came to me. And it was quite an experience to put it together.
Can you tell us about the first time you encountered this woman, Kathy Mullen?
It was a few years back. Jeff Pike had recorded some songs with my brother Gino, and they needed videos for the songs they were recording. So they came to me, and behind my black curtain there's a green screen, and we'd record, and I'd go on locations, and we put videos together. And then one day, Kathy asked me, she says, could you write a song for Mullen's Miracles? And I said, absolutely. So I wrote the first song, which I Keep the Light On. And then I wrote another song, which was We Go On, which is out right now. And slowly I said, she's maybe we should do an album. So then I wrote, 20, 30 songs. And that was the process. And so that's how we met. And I'm grateful. And I'm happy. I'm so happy I'm involved with this project. I can't tell you.
That song, We Go On, is on YouTube, and it has surpassed 500,000 views. Now it's on its way to 200,000 views. I invite everybody to check it out. It's also on Spotify. What inspired We Go On?
What happens when tragedy hits your life? You either fade, you melt, you go into a dark room and you go away, or you realize who still loves you, your purpose. You may have other family members you need to love and nourish. You have to go on. So it's a message of hope. It's a message of recovering. It's a message of reaching out and inspiring yourself and moving forward.
It is a great song, Ross.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Is there a song on this album that you're particularly proud of? I'm sure you're proud of all of them, but maybe one in particular, a favorite child?
Oh, that's a hard one. That's a hard question. When you're writing a song, you think, this is the best song I've written. And then you go back, you go, well, no, maybe that one is, you're not sure. I don't know, because every song has got a purpose on this album. It's really, really hard to pick. I guess the album title, Live Like There's No Tomorrow, has that meaning, that same meaning of hope and moving on. But there's other ones, not for the same reasons, maybe because of the lyrical content, not necessarily the musical content, Because of You, which is basically a song of donation, either heart, liver, lungs, whatever the donation may be. And basically, because of you, one person may not survive, but another one does. Another one lives on. So that was the purpose behind Because of You, which I thought it was an important message. So there's a lot of different messages on the record, and one song called The Rose in Bloom, which is basically sometime in October where a person is walking and all of a sudden there's a snowfall late October or middle of November. And suddenly there's a rose in bloom and you go, where does the rose come from? And it's a single rose just coming out of the snow, which is a sign to somebody that whoever they loved is there, still smiling on them. So there's a lot of subjects on the record, I think, that are important.
Is a connection with nature a source of inspiration for you, Ross?
Oh, yeah. I know it might find really something funny, but my beautiful, beautiful pet, Shelby, is an inspiration for me because I see such honesty in her eyes. It's like she knows what she wants when she wants it, but she'll give you unconditional love. And it's unbelievable. So I've never had a pet before, except I had 2 cats when I was younger. And my mom got bit when she was young. So as kids, we never really had a dog. But 11 years ago, we got Shelby, and she really affected my life.
I know what you mean. I had the opportunity at one point to interview Hall of Fame songwriter Dean Dillon, and he told me that his dog, Virgil, was a daily source of inspiration.
Well, you know what, Paul? I may be in the studio and it's late, really late, and she'll come to me and she'll bark at me like, it's enough. I'm telling you, she'll say, it's enough, and then she'll come to me 4 o'clock on the nose. Hey, we got to go out now. We got to go for a walk, right? And now it's even down to like head movements and just looking in her eyes, and she knows exactly what I'm saying, and I know what she means, and it's pretty amazing.
And it's good to have that kind of reality check. Studios are places where the hours can just drift right on by.
Oh, I have to tell you, it's, when you love something, I mean, you get tired and it's work and all sorts of things. But when you love it, and like my family, my brothers and I have loved it our whole lives, we feel so blessed. I feel so blessed that I can still be doing what I was doing when I was 17, 18 years old, and still creating. And that's why when I see views and on YouTube and stuff like that, and it touches my heart, because I say to myself, the message is getting through, and those are the kind of things that mean a lot, So, I mean, I saw the Ozzy Osbourne documentary last night, and amazing the pain that he went through in the last years of his life. But he still wanted to go there, and he wanted to thank his fans, and he wanted to go out in that last performance and go out there. And I really commend him for doing that. And the people around him who really loved him, you could really see who loved him. So I'm blessed in a way that I have people who love me too, and who help me, and they're an inspiration. My kids, my wife, Shelby, and all my friends. This project in particular, Kathy and Jeff were great inspiration. I mean, Jeff sang all the songs on the record, and he did a fabulous job. He did all the backgrounds, played some acoustic guitar on it. Then you have Chris Blackwell, who played fabulous lead guitar on the record. And and then Alex Leibowitz, that was with me doing a lot of the filming on location. I'm very blessed to have these great people around me.
On that note, different people, whether it be working with somebody like Jeff Pike and Chris Blackwell, or co-writing a song with somebody like Richard Marx, or you've had a number of creative collaborators. What do you look for in that other person that makes you want to work with them?
I look for something I can't do. What's the point? You look for something where they're going to inspire you, or they're going to lead you into a direction that you wouldn't go. If you're all going in the same direction, it becomes a little mundane. But if they take you somewhere else, then the song becomes a little more special, I think.
You've had your songs recorded by quite a number of people, from your brother to people like Lee Ritenour, big range of people. Has there been a version of one of your songs that surprised you?
Oh, I'm not going to say, but I could say more like a version of my song that disappointed me. So because, production, arrangement, vocal performance, all these things tying together. I think a song like, I Just Want to Stop, sung by my brother, wouldn't be the song it was if Gino didn't sing it the way he sang it. The performance, the way an artist performs it, it's like an actor who basically may say the same lines as another actor, but it means so much more when they say it. So it's the same thing with music. The singer, the performer, the musicians, they're all actors, playing a role, and it's all in their head and what they contribute. That's what makes the song great. I mean, that's why you hear other artists sing certain songs. It's like, okay. But when sometimes you hear the original artist who sang it, you go, wow, now I know why that song was a hit.
I think people would throw eggs at me if I didn't ask you about I Just Want to Stop. And when I interviewed your brother this last time, my dad, he called me and he said that he looked up that song and he was listening to it. And he said, "That's such a great song. Did you know when that song was written, did you know this is something special?"
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's, at that time, I was pretty young. I think I was about 19 years old. I had decided I was alone in LA and I decided to buy a Fender Rhodes because I play guitar or I write with guitar. And so I said, I'm going to go, pick up a piano. So I bought a Fender Rhodes and I brought it to my apartment. It was 2 stories up and I got it up there by myself. I don't know how I did it. Put it in the room and just started writing a bunch of songs. And I started writing I Just Want to Stop. And my dad came to LA and I played it for him. I said, what do you think of this? Oh, that would be perfect for Gino, and then when it got recorded and we produced it, people at A&M were telling me, oh, the song is moving forward and it's getting on this station and that station. And at that point, at 1920, you just think, okay, I'm going to write another song. I'm going to do another one, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, So your mind is all over the place. But I think when Gino performed it, I figured, you know what? Yeah, we got something special here. You don't know till the artist performs. I mean, we added the sax solos and the background singers, and they were special, no doubt about it. But I think, I even like it even more today when Gino performs it live. He does such an exceptional job and he performs it so well and such a high quality. And, I'm very proud of my brothers. So I'll always say beautiful things about my family, but it's true. And so when he recorded it, and I remember I can't remember what year it was, 1978 or 77, 78. And he laid his vocal on it and it took a few takes and he did it, looked at my dad and said, this is it. And it was it.
I always love musical collaborations between family members. And it's so special in the case of the three of you. There's lots of brothers or brother and sister, but 3 brothers all involved with music. That's very special.
You could almost say 4 because my dad.
Yeah.
Because my dad was a singer and a great singer and was a great influence. And I mean, the 3 of us, when we're all younger in the studio together, it could get a little wild, here and there because we all had opinions, but I think it was a great collaboration. And, my brothers are really, really talented people. Joe is a really talented musician and producer, works with a lot of different people. And Gino, no doubt, his writing and his arranging and the stuff that he does. I went back, sometimes you're on YouTube and you're looking around and all of a sudden I see a video of my brothers. And I was at that show because I was doing sound for that show. And I see my brother performing in 1977 or whatever in New Orleans or something. But, he was crazy on stage. But then I listened to his singing and I listened to the arrangements. I say, wow, that was pretty cool for the time.
We have the classic definition of brother, biological brother, but I'll tell you, the vocalist on this album from Mullen's Miracles, I don't have a biological brother. Jeff is like a brother to me, and I don't use that term lightly. How can we be a great brother to people or sister?
When to give, when to walk away, when helping is hurting, knowing when to stop, giving of yourself, Jeff and Kathy are 2 special people. And Kathy's got a heart, huge heart. I mean, what she's done with Mullen's Miracles is amazing. Collaborating with both of them in the studio here was exceptional. I mean, Jeff was a trooper. I mean, we went all night. We did all sorts of stuff. We tried all sorts of backgrounds. We did this, we did that. And Jeff was there. And I said, let's try this and let's try that. Let's try this an octave above and let's go here. And he was game and he did a fantastic job. And I can't say enough about them. And they're close to me and we are friends.
I want to talk a little bit about the visual side of things. There's the music video, and I understand that each song on the album is to have a music video. After so much time working in the world of sound, music, what was the inspiration? What got things going for you in the world of motion picture?
Interesting. 12 years ago, the idea was, I saw a lot of clips of Gino on YouTube, but they were like from years ago. And I said, people have to know how Gino performs today. So I said, I have to try to find the funds and try to produce a DVD that basically shows Gino's performances today. So we recorded a DVD called Live in LA, which took a while to do. We had trucks and there was like 30, 40 people and, it was a big production. And then what happened is that when it got to the end, it was all edited in the truck. And then I went to the editing room in Hollywood, and I live about 30, 40 miles north of Hollywood, and walked into the editing room and sat down with the editor and looked at it. And I said, this is not right. The edits are not right. I mean, this doesn't feel right. I said, the cuts we need to cut to here and cut to the drum fills and do this. And we need a close up on the fingers of the guitars. And I mean, my head started going. And then the editor said, oh no, what are you telling me? I said, we're starting over. So it took a month to do it. We started over and we completed it. Then at that point I said, I've got all these ideas. The only thing I don't know is how to operate the software. I said, that's crazy. So I said, this is nuts. I'm just going to learn the software. And so I learned the software. And then the next project I did was the Brian McKnight project. And I just edited it myself. And I kept going and going and going and did a bunch of other things. And then all Gino's videos. I did all Gino's videos. And then did another music video for not Hall & Oates, but John Oates. And then just on and on and on. And I started really loving it. Loved doing it. And then I said, I kind of look at video like I look at music. I kind of look for the rhythm, different rhythms and different cuts, whether it's offbeat, on beat, just how the crossfades work. And I just kind of looked at the video in a little different way. And it just became really interesting to me. And I look at all new plugins and what they can do to the video and new texts and how they look. And so it just caught my interest. And then, so I've done most of all Gino's videos and Jeff's videos. And I guess it's prepared me. We just got back from Serbia and we did a special there. And I'm about to edit that special, which will take me about 3 to 4 months to do. But I guess it prepped me. And so talking about Live Like There's Tomorrow, Kathy had the idea of saying, why don't we do a video for every song? And at first was like, well, that's kind of a lot. But she was right. And I agreed with it. And Jeff agreed with it. And we did. And each video's got something special. And I think they're all, emotional and they highlight the song beautifully. So at this point here, I'm equal with video and with music. They just, both of them, like side by side. You can't have music and without video today.
It's true.
I mean, most people, I hate to say it, some people listen with their eyes. So, and some people get more of a message with the video. And It's just hand in hand. And especially with YouTube and all these different platforms, you got to have it.
Definitely. So how do you take a song like We Go On? You've got the song completed. It's mastered by somebody named Yuri. And how do you take a recording like that, conceptualize? You use the word emotion, and having watched quite a number of your music videos, there's always this emotional element to them. But how do you take the sound and add the video, add the visual element?
It starts from the emotion of the music, obviously, and how you interpret the lyric to the visual. Sometimes I see something spiritual, but it's not necessarily something religious. It may be something more universe, something in the universe. So I relate to something that's maybe the connotation is a spiritual thing, but it's more of a universal thing with planets and stuff. So I'll go that way. You know what I mean? Versus going a traditional way. And then sometimes I'll go the traditional way because it's meaningful, because it brings out certain aspects of the lyric, with the visual. So, and I take it step by step. My first process with video is I create a library for every song. I say, I'm going to need this kind of visual. I'm going to need this kind of background. I'm going to need this, that. I just put together a library. Then I go out and shoot what I feel I need. And we'll go out and we'll go to different locations and shoot what I need. I get that. I look at every shot and I say, this is what I need. That's what I need. I need this close up. Then we'll go to the green screen and say, you know what? This is what I need. I need a close up because I'm not going to be able to get that in this location. And then I'll create certain shots with a green screen. Then I'll take all that together and then I'll just feel it with timing and say, oh, this is when I need this shot. Or, oh, this is when I need that shot. Or where was that shot? And I'll go back so it's just a constant editing thing and at the end you look at it, you go, too many shots. Got to take a couple out, and that's basically how my process goes. And then I'll say, you know what? I don't like that typeset. It doesn't feel right. It should fly away. It shouldn't fade away. It's just what you sense. And it's not necessarily one thing's wrong or right. It's just what you feel.
Well, having undertaken these different projects in audio, music, now video, is there another frontier in the world of Ross Vannelli that you want to embark on? Something you haven't done yet that you'd like to?
Well, maybe one day a film, but that's a stretch because it takes so much to do a great film. I mean, if you think doing a great record or a great video is one thing, but to do a great movie, I mean, that is heavy. I mean, so it starts with a great script, just like it starts with a great lyric, with music. But there's so many people involved. And if not everyone is on the same page or at the same level of talent, you'll have a problem somewhere. So you need a great person who's going to, film it and light it and write the screenplay and direct it and so many aspects. It's a heavyweight project. Maybe one day. But right now I'm happy writing music, something that's part of me, and putting that to video. I love it.
I like to think sometimes about best case scenario. Somebody who listens to this album, Live Like There's No Tomorrow, what is it that you hope somebody gets from that experience?
Peace. I hope they find some peace with the songs. And they go to mullensmiracles.org and reach out to Kathy. That's the hope. I mean, everything is focused to that, because there's a community there. People can be part of the community. There's a 988 number they can text or call, which is important to somebody in need, somebody who's in that depression, somebody who is looking to reach out and they just don't want to talk to people next to them. And I'm hoping that the album will bring some peace and understanding to certain people who have gone through it or are going through it. I hope it brings them some comfort.
What do you say to that person out there who they are going through it? They're facing things that I can say personally, I have had despair in my life, and it's maybe the worst thing that there is. What would you say to that person?
Don't give up. Don't give up. I try to put myself in that position and say, for someone to say, I'm going to leave now because I think it's better on the other side, is such a heavy thing that you look at that person, and some people may demonize that, but you look at that and what is that person going through? There's just nothing but depression and darkness. So my heart goes out to them, and I'd say to them, please reach out, go to Mullen's Miracles, reach out and talk to them, communicate with them, find a place where you can have a balance inside yourself. Because it may be beautiful on the other side, but it's beautiful here too. You just got to find it.
On the note of beautiful here too, I agree with you. What is the best thing about being Ross Vannelli? What is the best thing about going through this experience we call reality as you?
Oh, I'm so lucky. I'm so blessed. And we all go through depression. We all go through, but I feel like I've kind of lived 4 lives or 5 lives. It's a hard thing to imagine, but because I started so young, my whole family started so young. I went on the road. I had just turned 18 years old and toured for 7 years, 8 years with my brothers. Then for 20 years, produced other acts, wrote for other acts, and had some great experiences there. And then 15 years ago, started working with my brother Gino again. What can I say? I'm in the studio. I enjoy to see Jeff sing, and I enjoy to see these songs come to life and see these videos come to life. I love to see my brothers perform. I love to see Gino perform. I had such great parents. My mom was a sweetheart, and I have good friends. I have a great family. I have beautiful kids. My wife is just so supportive of me. I got Shelby. And what can I say more than that? I mean, to do what you love and still be passionate about it, and people to still like what you do. I mean, can you ask for more?
Yeah. Well, when I wake up in the morning, I find that I sometimes will have this state where I'm kind of in between dreaming and being awake. And sometimes there's a moment where I wake up and I kind of continue, I think. And this morning when I woke up, I started thinking about the fact that we were going to do this interview. And I thought about if the young Ross Vannelli, who was first putting pen to paper, writing songs, if he could see what would happen, all the different people recording your songs, the experience of going into this world of video, what do you think the young Ross would say? What do you think he would think about all of it?
I don't know if the young Ross could see that far. To be honest with you, honestly, I remember being at our house and I was 16 years old and maybe I was 17 and sitting on the balcony saying, God, where am I going to be when I'm 50? I said, I don't know. It's like, how do I make it from this point to that point? I said, will I make it with music? I don't know, And then at 17 years old, my dad said, why don't you go on the road with your brother? I said, yeah, but Gino doesn't really use guitar. At that point, it was only keyboards on stage. He says, oh, go. So what I did is I was a roadie for 2 years, packed trucks, 40-foot semi. I had no clue where that would take me. And then our engineer left, and I remember we were renting Supertramp's PA at the time. And the engineer says, who's going to operate this huge console? And I'm looking down like, I have no idea. And my brother, Gino, said, my brother Ross is going to operate it. I looked at him and said, what? I said, I don't know anything about this console, right? Well, that helped me a great deal because I started to understand EQ, compression, sound, sonics. That just like taking a baby and throwing it in the water and learning how to swim. So asking me if I knew that when I was 16 and then going into the studio with my brothers and during the recording of Brother to Brother, having Maurice White through my friend Bill Myers walking into the studio and saying, hey, I heard you write music. I said, yeah, play me a song. I played him a song. He says, can you hold that song for 6 months? I said, geez, 6 months. Well, he called me 6 months to the date. He says, come over to my house and play that song for me again. I went over there and played him the song. He recorded it for Earth, Wind & Fire. He recorded another song for Jennifer Holiday. He recorded other songs for The Emotions. And what I'm saying is, would I have ever dreamt that when I was a kid? No. I was in my room listening to Way of the World by Earth, Wind & Fire. You know what? And you asked me, well, one day they'll record a song of yours. No way. So you can't even think it. You just have to take every day like it's a step.
Take every day like it's a step. Is there any other piece of advice that you, if you could somehow, have given to the young Ross Vannelli? What would you have told him?
Go back to school. I was fortunate that, I had enough talent that I could take something and make something from nothing just because of me and my DNA and how I think. But to depend on that to make a living? I mean, I would go back to school and study more of composers and study more of classical stuff and just more of it, just to have more information, as much information as you can, gain it. And that's what I would have told myself. But you know what? When you're young, you got to go by what your mind is telling you. I had this vision in my mind at one point that I was going to be an artist and I was going to go out there and I was going to perform. And then as time went on, I said, no, that's not for me. I said, that's for Gino. Or that's for Jeff. I said, no, what's good for me is writing and producing. This is what's good for me. And so it took me time to understand it. Maybe at about 25, 26 years old, I understood it. But I had a couple of deals offered to me and I passed because I realized that I think I would have maybe, because I sing okay, but my brother sings great. So you start to understand that the older you get, what your misgivings are and what your strengths are. So, but that takes time. Again, it's the steps in life, right? And you got to be lucky enough not to fall completely flat on your face as you're going. So that's why I say I was blessed because I had these people and I was lucky enough to have a song early on that was a hit song that kind of brought me to another place and then another place, another place. And then people believed me, said, well, if he did that, maybe he must be okay, So, these things you can't even imagine when you're young. So when you're young, I would say it's like my sons. My sons are studying. My eldest is a coder. He codes and he's damn good at it. But he studied. I mean, he went years and years and got his master's and did that. And God bless him. I mean, he's doing fantastic. So for me, as a younger person, talking to myself now and being my own dad and looking back, I'd say, go back to school.
Well, you mentioned composers. Who would you say are the songwriters, the composers, the lyricists, whatever, that have had the biggest influence on you?
Well, I would say when I was young, people like Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Led Zeppelin, Elton John, the early records, Beatles in some way. I mean, groups like Blood, Sweat, and Tears and Chicago and all these bands, James Taylor, all these 70s bands, kind of, then listening to all the records my dad had too, like I'm sure Gino explained that, all the Latin records and all the jazz records and all the records from the 50s, Nat King Cole, Frank Sinatra, all of it. Count Basie, all those bands, all those influences put together, kind of, I guess, but I loved rock and roll music, and again, so it's hard to explain what your DNA, what happens to your DNA, what music, do you know what I mean? But it definitely affected me big time. And so those bands, Stevie Wonder, my God, even during the 60s, the music that he was doing and the way he was performing was so good, so soulful, and it was a step above.
Well, I was playing this album not long ago. I had someone over for dinner, and we were all playing this. And this guy, his name is Kobe. He commented about the uniqueness. The songs are really, really unique.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
By the way, let me just say one thing, Paul. That album cover, my son Alex created that.
Very cool.
I thought it was very, very cool. And, I put together a lot of the images, but my son Alex, he created all the images that were inside that package. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Oh, no. The familial ties continue with the album, even in the album cover. Has there been a compliment that has meant the most to you through the years?
I don't know. That's a good one. Oh, you always like when somebody says, "Oh, that's a beautiful song," or "That's a great song," or this and this and that. I don't know. I can't remember, to be honest with you. I think more than anything, if somebody came to me and said, "My God, you got such great kids."
That's special. Well, I want to encourage everybody. I always like to tell people, and I probably sound like a broken record, no pun intended. When you listen to music, give yourself the gift of listening. Listen from beginning to end. Really give yourself a chance to listen. I hope everybody checks this album out, mullensmiracles.org. Ross, do you have any parting words for our viewers and listeners before we go?
I want to thank Kathy Mullen and Jeff Pike. I'm honored to be part of that project. That project wouldn't be that project without them. That's number one. And my family. Thank my brothers, and I want to thank my immediate family, my wife and my kids. They make my life special. Please go to mullensmiracles.org. If you're in need, it's the place to go.
Definitely. mullensmiracles.org. And Ross Vannelli, thank you so much for this interview. I've greatly enjoyed.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Until next time.
You got it.
We thank you and appreciate you dropping in for the Paul Leslie Hour today. You can help the Paul Leslie Hour in our mission to provide independent media content like this by visiting www.thepaulleslie.com/support. We truly thank you. This is your announcer speaking. Performance of The Entertainer intro song and Corina outro song, courtesy of John Premerano. Well, that's it for today. So until next time, be safe and be good.